Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Welcome, everyone.
Nick and Barbara can see, and Ian.
Hello.
Hi guys, yes.
Hi, yep, I'm absolutely fine. Seeing here perfectly. Thanks, guys.
Sure. Good. So today's objective of this session is just to get an understanding of the targets versus revenue, because we are getting a lot of requests. And basically, I think this is a basic that we need to provide as well. So I'm trying to get a better way of doing this. But what we have at the moment is a workaround. So a lot of venues want to see they want to set some kind of target for every year. And then they want to see how much revenue they're making in terms of, it can be AV revenue or it can be total revenue. At this moment, we don't have any specific tool for that. As you all know, we have a sales goal that's available in the system. The problem with sales goal is that it looks at the order date. So if you're not, I'm not sure if all of you are familiar, basically when I add an order today, that's the order date. But probably I'm adding the order for 2025. So the system capture it, the calculation for sales goal is today. So you can't use the sales goal for whatever this region want, or at least in Australia and Asia, it doesn't really work. And also in the sales goal, you can only show order total. You cannot put any more filter or anything. So if you want to have a target by event category, event class, or something like that, it's not possible at this stage. And also you cannot have customized, also you cannot have a customized summary. A lot of venue doesn't use the total revenue because they have a lot of other communication happening. For example, they want to have specific, the revenue, they are not 100% earning everything they're selling. They might be using some formulas to capture the total revenue. So in this example, you can see there is a total revenue and then there's total revenue confirmed. So basically they want to see how many events that's already confirmed so we can count the revenue, how much that is. And also you have in pipeline, you want to see how many events. So with sales goal, you can't do any kind of this stuff like this. So in here, what we did is we are using the event status and using the formula to create that breakdown. So you can really see how much is the total revenue pipeline and also confirmed revenue. So you get all of you get an idea of why we had to do this, right? It's because we don't have a standard tool at this stage. However, we started a conversation in Yammer a while ago, and then a lot of people jump in. So there is something happening, but we don't know when we're going to get a tool to put really targets and see the revenue in a very easy manner. But it's coming. We don't know when.
Sorry, Saren, is this the thing that Melbourne Racing is wanting you to configure?
That's right, yeah. And look, from all the venues I went, everybody wanted this. I don't know, but everybody wanted to have a revenue and target. I think it's good. So probably there'll be multiple ways to do it. And recently, Aubrey also configured this for Spotless, but it was a lot more. They had to configure it because they wanted to do per salesperson, per location, etc. And MBS also one of the first customers that asked for this, I think. And then that's why we had to come up with this workaround. So the workaround is that you have to create a dummy event for 1 year. So basically what you do is you create an event called target. We'll have your start day as 1st of January or whatever they want, 1st of January, and then the event will be running until 31st of January. So you will have one event called target, and then I'm going to show you from there onwards. All right.
So one per month, not per year, yeah?
One per year. One event per year. I don't want to create 12 events. I'll create one event. I'll show you how we can do that.
Okay.
Right. So if you go into the events, it will be really easy if I can show you what we did. So I have to clear. So you can see here, we have an event called Target Budget 1920 Financial Year. And that event is running from specific start date and end date. the very first thing you need to do is you have to create 12 function lines. So you have a function line called January, February, March, April, up to whatever you want. Make sure your start date and end date is updated. So the January should be January, February should be February. The description doesn't mean anything. It's all about the dates in there, right? And then the next step is you will have to add a service order against all of those lines. Okay. So I'll show you in a minute. So you can see here, you have April, probably it's a good idea to sort by the date.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think people can see that.
All right. So you will have April, January, February, March. That's your function line. Then you add a service order against it. You can see there are 12 service order. And then within the service order, what you will have is that when you create a service order, you will have a specific item. So you need to create an item before you add the service order. You need to have a resource, which generally I call it as monthly target. So you create an item called monthly target, that's a resource. And then to avoid this from appearing on any other report, generally what I will do is that I will also create the item department called target so that we can exclude it from all other reporting and stuff like that. So that's some of the things you need to look into. So you assign that item department called target as well. So, or budget or whatever you want to call it. And then you put in your unit chart you see there, that's actually your target, right? So you just put in your target for that month on that line. Okay, so you can see it's a little bit of work, but once you understand it, it's quite easy. And the good thing is that if you want to use this for next year, all you have to do is copy that event. When you copy the event, anywhere function line will be updated.
Can't you just change the dates?
So what?
Can't you just use the same event?
But you're going to lose that you want to do historical comparison and things like that, you're going to lose that. So
just copying it.
just copy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and also I think one event per year is still okay, but if you're going to do per month, then that's a lot of work. Yeah, so just make sure the start date and end date, it should actually follow the correct format, but just make sure that's for that month. Just make sure it's all there. So we okay with that so far?
Just one little question here. Just would you recommend, I'm noting this down, you don't need to remember, but for that resource, would you make that order only so it can't accidentally be invoiced?
Yeah, that'd be a good one. All right, so far so good.
Yeah.
So they can easily enter all their, budget in one go, or if they're not sure, they can enter later on, up to them, or up to you to configure it first. And then we need to know how to create this one. So basically you have your target, and then what you're doing is I'm using actually service order to do all the summary and everything. That's where I'm pulling the information. But it's really up to you. You can pull from different places as well. You can pull from function. I tried it on a function level first, but the problem was that I'm talking about the summary, because you need to know what is your target and you need to know what is your revenue. So you need the system to look at somewhere to give you that information. So there are multiple places that you can do the summary. You can do it on a function level, or you can do it on a service order level. I tried it on a function level first, but the problem here is that there's so many functions and there's no way for you to exclude function without any order. So the summary was really slow. So I had to look at another way, and then I thought maybe service order is another option that we have. Okay, so probably. So on the service order, generally you will put that, just to make sure that I'm only looking at that particular year, I put a filter there saying that function occurred on that specific year. Because sometimes the event can be tricky, the start date and end date and things like that. So I use function just to make sure that I'm only looking at that particular period. So I use the function filter occurs on that timeline. And so you get the monthly view there. And then you have your target, and you can see the star, the asterisk mark. That means this is not a system field. This is something we did, right? Just to make sure that you just to make it easier for us to do troubleshooting, I always put an asterisk in front so that I know that, okay, that's a USI defined, or someone from the consulting team or someone from Angabo did that field. But so we know that's not a system field. So you might be wondering how you get the July target. You can simply right click here, show column, and then go into the field to find out what I did there. Target. So you can see here, I'm using a summary to pull very specific information here on that column. So service order, that's my subject, and the summary subject is actually service order item. Remember, I added a specific item called target. So I'm looking at that. I'm using a tax inclusive extended charge, and then select criteria. You see there, I tell the system only look at this specific item, right? And then make sure the face is ordered and etc. Everybody clear? And then with that summary, you will get that target field populating on that window or on that screen. So that's one part of the calculation. You have your target. Now you need your revenue, right? So revenue, all of you are already familiar. Basically, that's again another summary field. But again, it depends on the customer. For Howard Smith, I have to do a lot of configuration to get this because they are not really like, okay, the 100% revenue is ours. That's not the case. They're only getting, for example, AV equipments. They are not getting 100%. They only get 25% commission, but they invoice 100%. So you have to do a percentage calculation, and that's why you see a lot of things there. So I'm just going to show you anyway what's happening here. So you can see you have venue hire, there's a pipeline, that's a summary field. Then you have a catering pipeline, plus, and then what I get is a formula of all those summary. But you don't have to do that for every customer. It depends on what's their requirement, right?
So just potentially we could just have a single summary field of all of the real orders that aren't those sales targets, have a summary of what the targets are and compare those.
That's right. So probably I will use this as an example, the venue hire revenue, because that's a summary. So you can use something like this for your total revenue. You can see here, you can call it total revenue, and then the only thing you need to do here is that just remove that item departments. So you see here, there's an item department called venue hire. So instead of that, if you want the whole revenue, you can remove that so that all the item will be included in the revenue. And you get the total figure. So you have a target and you have a revenue. Basically, that's it. But the good thing is that with summary field, you can start adding more things. So you can have revenue, target revenue, you can have AV revenue, you can have venue hire revenue, then you can have catering revenue, food and etc. So all in one screen, right? So this is what we did for a couple of customers. I tested so far pretty good. They were happy, and the initial setup is a little bit, but after that it's not really that much. You just have to tell the customer how to moving forward, how they're going to maintain it. They should know the key things. Basically, when you copy, you make sure that all these things are followed. So that's what we have right now. I don't know if anybody else have anything better, or is there any other questions before we move into anything else? Any questions?
Sarah, if you wanted to have a target based on your type of event, say weddings.
Yep.
Is that
Yes.
possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Again, you have to choose the event type.
Yeah.
So that will get, again, you probably need more than one target event in that circumstances.
Yeah.
Or you need to have specific service order for those type of events. So it's possible, but we'll have to see exactly what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But
Just choose
definitely.
an class.
It depends, I guess, how they,
Yeah.
how the Benny categorises.
Yeah, can be event class, category.
And how many categories?
Yes.
How many types of event? They could have like 30
And-
types.
Yes, and if you have specific target for event class, that will be very tricky. And I know that Aubrey did quite a lot for Spotless now because they wanted to have target per salesperson, per venue, or a few things. So you have to spend maybe more than a day to configure all those things.
We decided not to go with the sales target per person.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, can't do that. All right. Any other question here?
Can we have a look at the gadget?
Yep, I'll show
There you go.
Yeah, no, but I'll go there in a minute.
Yeah.
So before I go into that, this is a sales goal I was talking about earlier. You can actually set up sales goal in the system. You can have like first year, first quarter, monthly, and things like that, service order goal. You can put the amount, but there is no functionality to define more than this. That's it. You have a goal amount, but that's it. You can't say anything else.
Or what determines which month?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And you don't have a summary field available. See here, we have no option. I logged a case as well, but you can't do anything here. You cannot add a summary field here, but you can see on a lot of other window, we have the summary fields. If we have the summary field there, potentially we can use this for a lot of other things. But that's up to the team to make the decision, how much effort that's required. Probably they are moving away with this and coming up with something more smarter. Okay, so just to give you an idea what. So once you have this, you save it as a view, and then you can add it to your dashboard as a view. But then you can also build same thing, but you can replicate it as a graph. A lot of people like to see the graph so they can exactly know, oh, my target is there, but I'm over here. So you can see easily. And so you can also, you can't really choose the color, but you can adjust what will be red, what will be green. You can like move it around. I'll show you in a minute. So I'm just going to expand this for a minute and then tell you how we build this dashboard. So you can see the columns. The first thing is that the subject is service order, again, because that's where our view is sitting. And then chart type is a column because I want to see it on a column level. And in here, the columns, main thing is that you need to choose a revenue and then you need to have the target. And I'm also using month. I want to see, because I want to see per month. So I'm using start function date. That's what you're seeing, January, February, March. So I'm using the function date. That's why I told you just make sure that the function dates and etc. are correct. So I'm using that to format the way I want so that I can see January 2019. I can use that particular format. So I'm just using the start system field but replicating it, and we can format the way we want. So this is another tool all of you can use. If the system like the date field or maybe time as well doesn't suit you for quoting or for proposal or in a view, you can actually always update it. You can use it, system field, but then you can change the way that display. So if you want 01 January 2019, I don't think anywhere in the system that capture that way. So if you want that to be in the email template or something like that, you can always come in here, create a formula using the same field, using those two control there. And also you can copy an Excel formula, put it there. So that will format that field. Okay, so I have the revenue and the target, event ID. Again, these are just for information purpose so that we can drill down, we can click on the graph to see where is that event where's the value, etc. And then on here, you select all those summary fields there. You can see target, total revenue, and then there's one more because I'm comparing revenue, the target with two types of revenue, confirmed and pipeline. That's why I have it here, and I'm comparing my axis. One of the axes is basically the months, the function that I just talked about. Right. And just now I told you, you can change the color of the month, the target or whatever it is. By default, the system will give a color. We can't change the color unless you change the pattern. But what we can do is that if you move it around, basically, you can actually move these fields around. You can actually move it down or up. Using that arrow, actually, you can change the color a little bit. So if you want your revenue to be green, you just have to move it and see where you get the green, right? So you can. So that's something we found out using a lot of troubleshooting, trial and error. Okay, any question here? It's a very easy graph, actually. It's just a lot of talking, but it's really easy to do once you understand. But then, once you do everything correctly, you will get this one. So you can see the green color is target, so it's really easy to see, hey, look, October target is high, but we are almost there because we have two types of revenue sitting there. So if you combine it, probably it will be hitting the target, right? June, also the target is high. You don't have any confirmed revenue yet because there is no event that's been confirmed so far. So you can make a lot of decisions from here. Say that, oh, we need to do more work, or, what we need to do. And good thing is that you can drill down. You can click on it, that will show you where is that coming from. So that's October 2019, and these are the events we have in 2019 October. You can see the target event will pick up for that particular month. That's my target. And then these are the events that we have in October. Yeah, so the value of this target, this dashboard is that you can have their, if they want to use it for their board meeting or whatever it is, they don't have to print piece of paper. They can use it straight away and say, oh, look, October we are not doing well, why? And then they can do the drill down. It gives the business a lot of value, I would say, to make a lot of decision. So, and it's real time. So if they added a new event before the board meeting, like yesterday, of course the value will be updated and things like that. Just make sure that when you're building the formula or summary fields, just double check the fields, the departments and all sort of things, because that makes a significant difference. If you didn't configure it correctly, your value populated won't be correct. So just always ask them to double check if it's, it's correct. Yep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you were talking about doing this by salesperson. I've got an idea for one of our clients, so for expertise. They want to be able to report by salesperson. So troubles that you encountered trying to set these up by salesperson, were you trying to do one event per salesperson, or is it one function per month or one order per function? What was the showstopper for doing this by salesperson?
So I was trying to do one event for salesperson, and altogether they probably have more than 50 salesperson across the state. So just
the config of that.
Yeah, and the salesperson might leave, another new one might come in, so it won't be an easy copy event. So you constantly need to add a new event. But they're happy with the yearly target, so we just use the KPI gadget instead in the end.
You also know that there is a KPI target. You can set this up as well. This is very easy to set up, but the only thing is that you can also see the revenue and etc. But the only thing is that you have to have 12 gadgets sitting there if you want to see monthly, month by month. You want to see January, February, March, which means you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need to dedicate one dashboard just to see the monthly. So it's really up to And a lot of people want this way, not really on, it just depends.
So have you got them changing that gadget for each month, did you say? Or,
No, you will have one dashboard with 12 gadgets.
but for these guys, are they using that?
They're using it, yeah, just to see the monthly.
And they just change it each month, change the date?
Yeah.
That's doable.
But primarily they look at this, but just to have an extra tool. And they're combining it. You can see that it's May and June. So this is monthly, but that one is not monthly. Then they look at 2 months there. So it's not replicating the same information, but it's more. I think.
So anyone got any ideas for using this for an existing client? Suppose we need the fancy dashboards, that's a big limitation.
I think we should sell this to everyone.
I think so too,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Because it's not just about the dashboard, it's about the summary fields. That's where we get a lot of requests because they want to sum up the revenue somewhere and say, oh, well, we can, but then, you need to sell them the idea, saying that this is not just dashboard, and it give you a lot more value, a lot more reporting. You might be spending thousands of dollars to build some crystal report. Why not you get the dashboard license and then everyone can use it. You can have dashboard, summary fields, and also you can have the management looking at it rather than asking you all the time questions. So you just have to guide them to that direction, I think. You should be asking that question, why do you need that report? Like when you can have a view or dashboard or something like that. That's what I'm trying to do. Not always possible, but I try. Any other questions? So do you know any of your customers really interested in this, or anyone ask you this kind of question so far? I know Melbourne Racing Club asked me during my presentation.
I've got a Flex customer.
Flex customer, they can have dashboards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely they can once they have it.
No.
Yeah, they need to have this, then we can talk.
Well, and that's something that we've done in the past, which is to do that, is to give them a trial, build that, and if they want to keep it.
They wanted a very detailed breakdown of the revenue, like catering items, food, beverages,
Sure.
and very, very detailed. Even on even the packages, they want to see the package item details and the department, so they would really fit.
Yeah, just sell them the module first, then we talk. and
July.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be better to teach them how to do it or to do it for them?
I guess I'll let them break it. So the question to answer, the answer for that question is, I personally, again, people do differently. I always configure this first because you want to make sure that you get it absolutely right before you teach them. So what I did is I asked for the target for a couple of months, not for every single month, but I asked for 2 months, can you give me the target? And then I configure it. I was confident that this works. And then it's really easy to show them and teach them once you have something to show them. Otherwise, it's a big story to teach them, oh, we need this field, and then they will ask, okay, and then what it will look like. They have no idea. So the best approach will be you configure first, you show them, and then say, oh, you can just copy that event, and then you can adjust it, but also explain to them, depending whether they understand or not, you have to see that as well, who you're talking to. Yeah. But yes, I will always configure first.
And in this scenario, how long did this take?
I think for me to get this probably took me a day.
But that was coming up with the idea, I think, if we've
So
got,
we're quicker now.
For now, yeah, it's probably 2 hours or an hour or something like that.
we've got a configuration list now.
Yeah, we already know where to target, where to go. So we can always refer to the formula that we created, summary and things like that. So it's probably, yeah. But I would still think it's I don't know, I mean, for existing customers, it should be part of some kind of process review or something like that, saying that, hey, look, we can do a few things, maybe optimize your flow or look at the reports that you're doing and things like that.
Because what that's giving you is it's giving you financial reporting without the financial modules, so.
Yeah.
Is there some way where you can replicate this in a demo database?
Yes, we can. If we have the time allocated, I'm sure we can. It's not
I
that.
mean, it'd be great to show customers, but obviously this is financials, it's
Yeah.
information that we can't really.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should create this in APDB.
Yeah, but that never really gets seen, so I think we need to look at the pre-sales database and getting some of those in there.
I already have the summary fields per department. I think what's missing is the function.
The target.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if you want, I can work with you. Not that hard, so it's good to have that in the demo as well. We can show.
I'll send you the draft of the list of configuration items just for those.
So anyone else got this request so far? Anyone else? No.
Question maybe.
Yeah.
So for example, for a new financial year, it's going to be a separate gadget, or is it going to be a running chart or column for both years or something?
I think it really depends on what they want to see. Like for some people, they want to keep the historical as well, just to have two gadgets to see a comparison what we did last year, what we're doing now, and things like that. So
if they want to see a trend for 2 years, for example, you just need to change the month.
yes, so you can just expand if they want to see for 2 years. Yeah.
Do you just continue to add functions within that same event year on year?
You can as well. Yeah, you can as well, but I think there might be, if your filters are looking at event start date, end date, and things like that, you have to be careful that will break that. It will not appear on your search because it's looking at a specific year. So it's possible, but it's
being aware of those limitations of
that's right.
the filters.
Yeah. But most of the filters I used is not really event related. I mean, it's not event start date or end date. I'm using function. So this should capture regardless of the event start date or end date. Yeah.
And it's more accurate for those events that go over 2 months as well.
Oh, good. Okay. We still got about 17 minutes.
Just to confirm, so the pipeline is based on the ordered item, and
yes.
confirmed is the actual?
No, so the pipeline is based on the event status. So they don't consider, so confirmed is basically all the confirmed events.
Yeah.
So pipeline is anything before confirmed. Right, so because that's not really confirmed, so they still want to see how much is of a potential there. So it's basically a summary field, but with specific status in there. You can see here pipeline.
So that's anything like quotes or proposals and things.
That's right. Yeah. The summary field is looking at event statuses. So when you're building that summary, the second summary, you tell the system, look at all the events that's from inquiry up to that confirmed.
See that in your service orders.
Yeah, there is a filter. So you can see here. So Howard Smith consider contract sent, contract requested, and confirmed as like a confirmed event because they are sure about that. But anything up to that will sit in that other bucket. Basically, that's the potential revenue. Just on this, so that's basically for the target and revenue. And another thing, I learned a lot with Howard Smith, having a couple of sessions with them. They raised a couple of good points. One was target and revenue. The other one was they want to see how many events change status for the last 7 days or 30 days. I think in the event industry, a lot of people want to see how many events confirmed moved from inquiry to confirm. At the moment, you can use audit log to capture that, but audit log doesn't have a field to see the value, like a summary field. So again, that's a discussion that we started. At the moment, there is no way for you to do it out of the system. You can't see how many events confirmed. You can using the firm field, but I think it has some limitation there. Confirmed is fine, but if you want to see how many proposals that you sent last week without adding a specific activity or something like that, there's no way for you to track that conversion basically.
That's because they're using their web forms, is that right? So then they're creating the event.
Even if you're adding a manual event, for example, I changed the events. So this event was this week. The event was sitting in inquiry status, and then this week I changed the status to contract sent. So probably I want to know this week how many events someone changed the status to contract sent. So there is
With it, so we've got our all best practice lead management. Pete, you remember that? Yeah. Pretty sure Nick remembers that one. Yeah, you remember we had set up an APDB and it was managing leads by events. There's a lot of formulas in there. I've just put that on the list for Friday training to just review that and look at some of those formulas for where they can be used elsewhere. I think the whole lead management process for those dashboards is not necessarily our best practice anymore, but we can have a look at those formulas and how to use when things were last changed and use the audit log in formulas to give you some of that pipeline date information.
So you can see in audit log, you can see last 7 days, this many events changed the specific status. You can see sent to confirm, but you can get a number as well. But what you can get is the value. You don't know how much is the revenue that associated with. So that's where we are struggling at this moment. But I had a discussion with Chris, and we probably will come up. He already have an idea what we can do. Probably that would be a sellable solution. I mean, like a resellable solution once somebody bought it.
I reckon that a lot of those formulas are already in there.
Yeah.
Do they track it some other way, like outside of the system?
Yeah, that's what they're doing now, and it's a real manual work for them to see, okay, this week I'm the salesperson, I did this many, another person did that many, and then they have to compile this every week, and then every month they can see, week 1, this many, week 2, this many, so that's a lot of manual work. And you can also do a little bit, basically you can add an activity, when you change the status, you can add an activity called status change to this, and then it will have its own activity type, and then using the type, potentially you can do a reporting. But again, that's a manual process. So what we're trying to achieve is something a lot more automated and efficient.
This might be running off activities, one that I'm looking at, so
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, and also if you're getting a lot of requests like different, can we do this, can we do that? Probably we can. It's just a matter of how and what will be the effort required and where we need to pull the information. So have a chat with probably the tech team and consulting team. And if we need US to do something, we will ask them, but we don't know whether they will do or not. But we tried. All right, I don't have anything else. I tried to stretch it already.
Are we going to look at Marina Bay Sands?
It's the same thing. So
Sorry,
Marina Bay
yes,
Sands, yeah.
My bad. It's come from.
That's right. So the idea we initially developed for Marina Bay Sands because that's where the inquiry coming in. They wanted to see this, but then a lot of other venues also asked the same, but we used that concept for Marina Bay Sands first. Yeah, and it's not really my idea. It's a lot of people, including Samara, Fred, Alex, a lot of people discussed and we come up with a solution.
And be a type of revenue, right, which you could do. So venue rental, maybe catering, so if you want to do that as well.
Yeah.
Cool, everyone happy?
Yeah.
That's awesome, thank you so much, Sharon.
All right, guys, bye.
I need.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Nick is going already.
Okay.